Okay, to start up, I would like you to rise up and stand up. And then I want you to move closer so you stand next to a lot of people in a row.
To laptop.
I will not play with her.
Can we stand like one step closer? Because
Yeah,
there is
sure.
a laptop.
And then I would like you to hold hands. And now, no talking, only me. I want you to look at me, not look at each other. And what I first want you to do is focus on your hands. Feel the other person's hand in your hand. And then I want you to hold the other person's hand as that was your best friend. A friend you really like. It's really comfortable to hold these hands. Feel it? And then I want you to hold the other person's hand as you were afraid. You're really scared. And this is your comfort. You're really, really scared. Don't hold too hard. Don't hurt other people. You're so scared. This is your comfort. That's all that's keeping you safe. These hands. Feel it? Now I want you to hold the hands as you were grabbing them. You want them to stay. This is someone that can't get away. It's just like, it's not okay. They're just going to stay here. This is not a good person. You're just holding their hands. So put them here. They can't run away from you. And lastly, I would like you to hold the other hand. Like the first time is to grab the hand of someone you're in love with. The first time is to like, it's very scary, but you to hold your hand back. Just feel how it feels in your hand. Thank you. Please Something that I love about LARPing, what makes something special for me, is the touch, the feelings, the taste, the smell, all the things that sort of affects all my senses. It's like when I'm LARPing and I'm like holding so tight to my love, and my family is trying to rip us apart because we're not supposed to be there, and we're desperately holding. I can feel my lover's hands just grasping me really tightly, and this is so much more than watching a movie. This is so much more intense. I can feel those hands. It almost hurts, but it's a good hurting thing because he or she is holding on so tightly. It's just, I can feel the love in those hands, in that touch. Or, I'm standing in front of the battle line. I can feel the dry, dusty air breathing in, the weight of the armor, the weight of the shield, and my friends backing me up, being really close, but everyone's so excited, pushing really hard, and the enemy's coming. All those things are so fantastic with LARPing. But then imagine you're making a LARP about alcohol addicts. You really want to discuss this subject seriously. But if I'm supposed to feel this with my body, should I start drinking alcohol as the player, as the character? Is it interesting for me in this game to feel sort of the day after the horrible puke thing in my mouth, the horrible feeling of having done something terrible while I'm been drunk? Should I use real alcohol for making this game strong? And that is what this fader is about. So, this fader is about player pressure. And I always have to read it. Player pressure hardcore versus pressure on characters pretense. So imagine you're doing this game about the alcohol addicts. If you're doing it on the scale towards hardcore, maybe you actually ask them to drink alcohol if they're the addicts. Maybe you ask them, don't drink all the alcohol, but drink some of it so you actually get drunk and you actually get those feelings. That's one way of this fader's scale. But the other end is like, oh, you're not drinking at all. We're just, maybe we're drinking water. And we'll just say it's alcohol. But maybe we're not even drinking at all. We'll just cross that out. And this is what this fader is about. How do you push on the players or the characters pretending? And there are some things that are extra hard, or where you should take extra care with this fader. And then it's mostly about physical safety. It's about food. If you want to do a game about people who are starving or people who have problems getting food, should you actually not provide them with as much food that they need? Should they be hungry? Or should you just tell them, oh, pretend that you're hungry. You're going to get all the food you need, but pretend to be hungry. So it's sort of like pretending or actually feeling and actually having the physical disadvantage of this. And it could also be about shelter, about sleep, about hygiene, about violence, drugs, and sex. And there are cultural sort of defaults setting on this, what is okay to do in a game and what's starting to be hardcore. Something that you would say in your country is not so hardcore might be very hardcore in a different country. So, if, for example, in some Swedish fantasy games, simulating sex, it's like you go away and you rub each other's shoulders. So you rub someone's shoulder, you give them a massage, that's sex. In some countries, maybe that's pretty hardcore to do a massage on a stranger that you haven't met before. I don't know. But so I'm mostly going to talk about the Nordic sort of hardcore and pretense. Yeah, and this is, I'm going to use what I did before. If we say that hardcore is 1 and pretense is 5, I would like you to discuss the games that you had presented or have played so far during this summer school. And I would like you, like 2 and 2, and I would like you to discuss one that is far out on 1-2, and one that is pretty far out on 4-5, just to give examples. So discuss 2 and 2, which games you think are weird, that you have done during this summer school or been presented to.
Okay. Jag tänker... Vi tänker den spelta till exempel.
Ja. Altså det har vært så mye som har vært veldig professional players.
Kanskje litt. Det er litt. Kan være det.
Ja.
Den kan ha det. Den handler veldig om hvordan den blir lagt. Det er I hvert fall ganske sikkert. Snappene er mer hardcore, og så har du Boring Family Dinner som er totalt pretense, og så hvis du tenker på spillene som har blitt diskutert da, så har du selvfølgelig Delirium og Nei,
men altså de fleste av de virker.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Thank you. And I would like just some examples of hardcore games that you have been presented to. Could I have some from the groups? Capo? Yeah? Delirium? What was hardcore about Capo? What made that game hardcore?
Hungry, wet, and cold.
Hungry, wet, and cold. Yeah, I think that they, but as I've been told, they've had off-game food that they could always go and eat. So it was not, you could go off-game to get the food if you needed to. Yes?
Yeah, just to explain about Capo. The sleep was a bit of a problem because that was hard to get in the setting, but the food, there was plenty of food in the off-game area at all times. It was the in-game food that was hard to get. And though it was wet, you could always go get dry socks in the off-game area as well. So it was semi-simulated, but real.
So the players sort of had a choice to how hardcore, during the game, how hardcore they would like to go. Because they could go off-game and sort of get things they wanted. But still, pretty hardcore. I mean, wet, no sleep, a lot of really strong subjects. It's going to be hard. Yeah.
So physical pressure.
Physical pressure, of course, yeah.
Which was opt-in.
That was opt-in?
Yeah.
I wasn't here for the opt-in, so...
Okay, well it wasn't an opt-out. They didn't have to say, they could.
but they had in the beginning of the game they made a choice at how much pressure they wanted individually.
Yeah.
Not as a group, but individually.
Yeah, very interesting. We would like some pretense, pretend, when it's up to the characters to pretend to be hungry. Have you had any of those games?
Boring family.
The boring family dinner. Okay, so what is the very much pretending about that? Yeah. Let's play with dog. Yeah, that's a little pretend to be done. So, pros and cons with this fader. This one, obvious pro and con, of course. The more hardcore, the less safe it is for the players. The more pretend, pretty safe. Okay, and then you have sort of like, if you, we talked about this, I think it was Oliver who mentioned for me, that if you combine a lot of things that are hardcore, maybe it gets sort of not playable. Maybe it gets into the red scale of maybe not working so good in a game, maybe not doable. But say that if you come up to over 3 and you go to like 2 and going towards 1, you probably should think about this less safe. What to do about that? Is this really something that you need in your game? So if this is the obvious disadvantage of hardcore, less safe, why go into less safe? What do you want to experience with the less safe part? Well, it's sort of connected to what you did in the beginning. The mind and the body is a very strong connection. They influence each other all the time. If you want strong experience, lasting in your memory and being very, very emotional for you, maybe you need to use the body too. The body can be a tool to get into that. Maybe it's very hard to actually get those strong experience if I'm going to pretend that someone is a dog all the time. It might work, but it might be a little bit harder. Using our body to create this creates those strong experiences. But it's also the other way around. If the body is a very strong connection to the mind, if the body is telling you something all the time, maybe it will take over the mind. So if the body is telling you, go and eat, go and eat, go and eat, and you have this really fantastic love thing going on, just flirting and all the time, but you're still really, really hungry, and it's like you can smell the food over there. Maybe you sort of be like, even if we have fantastic gameplay, we'll go away from that, and you go to the food, because your body is really telling you that now, no play, now go and eat, because it's so connected to each other. Okay. Something I thought about a lot during those hardcore Nordic games I've done, and also actually fantasy games and things like that, is that there sometimes is a very strong social status off game thing going on, that you're supposed to be hardcore. If you're a good LARPer, you like the hardcore stuff, and you can take a lot of pressure. And this is also something that can happen in a group of players if someone starts this process, and it can be sort of like escalating until someone is actually getting hurt for real and doesn't like it for real. And I have seen this not only with the hunger and things like that. It's also been with in buffer fights, for example, when you fight with a rubber sword, and people can be like, no security, just go hard on each other and just smack each other really hard, and people end up with bruises everywhere. And it can be quite hard to say no during that time. And when it's over, it's been there, and you had that experience, and it might have not been a good experience. Okay. I would actually like to do sort of a check on different countries. So I would like you to group up in your countries, and I would like you to stand on different, like one row somewhere, and next country on one row, and next country on one row.
Get the Norskies down.
Norskies here!
One row with Russians, one row with you.
Poland, please start.
We need to be flush.
Let's be on the road.
Where the average game is, so where the...
I'm not explaining the just form the group, and I'll tell you more about what you're going to do.
So come here.
So just stand together with people from your same country. They have so much power, they get to decide by themselves. And then I want you people being in the middle of the road, just go out to the sides. Okay, so I would like you are on by yourself, you get to decide by yourself, that's fantastic. You are with the country that's a lot of countrymen with you right now. You get to be really good at communication, so you need to be fast. What I want to do is that I would like you to sort of imagine all of the LARP culture in your country. If you don't know so much, make it up. It's okay. And I want you to find the default fade put, like where is it usually in a LARP in your country? And imagine this is, the rows here are our faders, okay? So on this side, it's hardcore, and going on this side, it's pretense, okay? So, and you are from a country of a lot of countrymen. Please choose one who's going to be the fader, the fader thingy. There. You put on the fader. Okay, I guess this is a bit confusing, but what I want you to do, please continue. I would like you to go for violence. Where is the general default in your country? Where do you generally be on this fader concerning violence in LARPs? Is it very hardcore with violence? Are you actually hitting each other on with your closed fist? Yeah. Or are you somewhere padded weapons, somewhere like hardcore weapons, somewhere like you don't even have anything to do with violence?
Snackar vi på en till gärna? En till fem.
Sorry, could I have the Norwegian system? Once again, the average or the most common position?
Okay.
Yeah, right. The default. Once again, I don't really understand. Once again.
Whether it's an average or median, but it's just details, I think.
Yeah, try to just find sort of what you think most of the LARPers in your country would sort of... Yeah.
Okay. Ta de fingrene så mange det
Men en hardcore, det är
en hardcore,
4. Så det är...
Okay, we'll stop there. No more discussion. Just put your foot in some place. Okay, we're gonna go country to country. The person from the country being the fader, please just say which country you're from. We're starting from top. And then? Yeah, and you're from?
Okay, Finland. Yeah.
Finland?
Czech Republic, Russia, Belarus, and Sweden.
Palestine.
Denmark?
And Norway.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to do this again. Try to be quick about it. I want you to do it with food. Food. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Getting in position. Okay, we start from the bottom. We have Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Palestine, France, Belarus, Russia. This is fantastic. See how it's pretty different. It's fantastic. We'll do this last one, and I will do it with sex. Hardcore pretense. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Get in position. Okay, now we sort of know the countries. Here we can see clearly even much more space. Where is Belgium?
Slovakia never really told about these issues in Mars.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. So, when you're designing LARPs, and you want to do it about things that are valid, of course you can take this and do hardcore pretense on almost everything and you can think about that. But if you're doing it with physical safety or mental safety and a lot of pressure and serious work, you also need to sort of see where's the default, and if I move far away from that, how will I do that in a safe and good way with my players? And I can say this hardcore place over here, think hard and long and think about how you're going to treat that before you do the hardcore things. Of course you can do them, but think especially what kind of effect they want you're going to have on your players, and don't combine too much hardcore elements in the same game. Okay, let's do boring things. Boring dinners, for example. Sorry?
Awesome dinner.
Or maybe, yeah, maybe we could just have comments and ask questions before that.
Sitting down.
Yes.
Grab a seat.
Okay, we can sit down.
Yeah, please sit down.
Yeah. Denmark's a lot about hardcore.
It is like
I would like to ask you about. I think it's a good, very good intro to how you have to weigh towards each other the safety issues and the impact. But I mean, do you see any of doing stuff very hardcore? Maybe you can say something more about the consequences for role playing, not only for safety.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant by this kind of love affair. We're playing, but the game, the role playing, my keeping my character, it's really hard when my body is only telling me to go and get dry, or go and get some food, or sleep. Being really sleepy, body is mostly just telling you to go and sleep. So it will affect your role playing, of course. And at some extent, and that is why you should not maybe combine too many hardcore elements, it will take away the role playing because you only want to get dry and food and sleep. Yes?
But also to go back to your first example, maybe the best way of actually learning something about alcoholism isn't by being drunk. Sometimes the symbols is not just because they're the second best alternative to being hardcore. Sometimes there's poetry and lyricism in symbolizing stuff.
Okay. Any more comments, questions?
I was just thinking that sometimes when you pretend stuff and you use other techniques to simulate something that you wouldn't do because you think it's too hardcore, then the way you pretend or the method that you use can be hardcore in itself. For example, the Arsamandi method, which is very intimate and which feels very, you know, emotional.
Yeah, and you can also charge methods with a lot of meaning during a game because it gets meaningful, and then after the game it could be very meaningful to touch someone's hand with minerals. I just want to quick see how many of you in here have yourself been in a game and your body, your physical condition have stopped you from role-playing? Yeah, look around, see. Yes. How many have seen someone in a game actually being stopped from role-playing by physical condition? Yeah, there's a lot of hands in the air, so this fader, very important. Keep good care of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam.